Hey, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me for Chapter 7. I wanted to discuss how my life is so much better now since leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses. So I decided to slowly leave after my parents had passed. I felt that was the best thing to do. I didn't want to do that while they were alive. It just would have brought a lot of uncomfortableness to them and hurt, and I didn't want to do that to them. So I slowly left. There's different ways that a lot of XJW witnesses choose to leave. You can be real formal, which they prefer. They really prefer for you to either go to your Kingdom Hall or write a letter to your local Kingdom Hall where you used to go and let them know that you don't want to be identified as a Jehovah's Witness anymore. Or you could write a letter to the main organization in Pennsylvania, to the society, to let them know the same thing. And then they would notify your local congregation. And once that letter has been read by some elders in the congregation, then they make an announcement on the platform during one of their meetings to announce your name, that you are no longer wanting to be identified as a Jehovah's Witness. And what that tells the congregation pretty much, that you probably have become an apostate. And again, to go over what the real meaning of apostasy is, it doesn't mean that you lost your faith. They twist it and say that because you've chosen to not be a part of their religion anymore, that you've lost your faith. I've never lost my faith, never. But they like giving you a label. They like putting a label on you. So anybody that you may come in contact that were friends of yours from before in the past, in your day-to-day life, after hearing that letter read from the platform, that's where the shunning comes in. I think that's why all the so-called friends that I had, years ago, that I still run into, they don't say two words to me. They don't say nothing to me. They pretend like I have a plague worse than COVID. It's like they just stay so far away from me and don't even acknowledge my existence. It's just really ridiculous. So, if that's what they want to think, then that's what they want to think. But that's not the way I wanted to go. I'm not about being labeled. Nobody needs to put a label on me. If anybody puts a label on me, I'll put a label on myself. But I chose to just slowly fade away, trickle away. Stopped going to the meetings. But of course they have your number and your address, and so they come and try to, knock on your door and try to talk to you to get you to come back. Why they want you to come back so badly, I don't know. I really don't know. Is it about the money that they might be losing because of the donations, that we're supposed to give, monthly, whatever? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I was harassed for a good while. And I say harassed because that's how I felt. Like they just didn't leave me alone. I had old friends calling me that I wasn't even in their congregation anymore, but they had my number and they were trying to find out about me, and I just ignored all of them. I was already starting to just slowly deprogram myself. I found some great videos on YouTube. This one couple that are XJWs, they have put out some great information. Great. I mean, boy, did they do research about the Jehovah's Witness doctrines and stuff like that, and really opened my eyes as to how brainwashed I was in believing about this or that. And I realized that I was slowly deprogramming and really learning so much. And when in learning all about that, I realized that a lot of the end times that Jehovah's Witnesses are known for example, Jehovah's Witnesses predicted that the end of the world was going to happen in 1914. Well, that came and went. Also, they later predicted that in 1975 that the end of the world was going to happen. And they all encouraged so much so and pushed this so much leading up to 1975. They encouraged the Friends to like quit their jobs, sell their homes, sell their cars, live a simple life because you're not going to need any of that in the paradise new world and all of that. And they did, only to be told that, oh, sorry, we made a mistake. The end's not coming in 1975, because 1975 came and went and the end didn't happen. And a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses left because of that false prediction. And I don't know how any religion could even try to predict the end, because the Creator doesn't want us to know. He says so in the scriptures that nobody knows the day or the hour. So it's not for us to know. It's going to come as a thief in the night, as the scriptures say, when we least expect it. So how they got away with that thinking is beyond me. And and they're still predicting that we're so close to the end. This is the final part of the final last and the final part of the last days. And COVID was the sign, the plague, one of the plagues mentioned in Revelation that tells us that the end is going to happen any minute now. Just, I cannot even imagine being a Jehovah's Witness right now, living with that fear, just ridiculous. But all of those crazy predictions, something I didn't mention, that for a long time, when I was young, like in junior high and high school, they started with this belief or idea that you should not seek schooling after high school. Don't go to college. College was strongly discouraged, and is still strongly discouraged. There were some that decided to, go anyway, and bravo to them. I'm glad for them. But for the majority of us, we were supposed to get a job, whatever we can find, and devote our time and energies on pioneering and going out in field service, every day, and making that our career, because at any moment the end is coming. And so you want to be busy in the Lord's work and all of that stuff. And so I didn't know if y'all knew that, but they strongly discourage Jehovah's Witness youngsters from going to college, which is really sad. Look at all these years later. I did not go to college. I was blessed to have taken, in my 12th year of high school, I went to a vocational school half a day during my 12th year and learned the skill set that I have now, phlebotomy. If it wasn't for that, I don't know what I would be doing as far as a job. and I probably wouldn't be making decent enough money to support myself and my family, without, sadly, without a college degree of some kind. You kind of need that in order to make good money for the most part, or have a decent living. So I was very blessed that I was able to pick up that skill set, that has carried me through now. So I'm very grateful for that. But I probably would have loved to have gone to college though. I mean, I love learning, and who knows what I could have done with my life if I had actually went to college, where I am now. And I feel like I could have been a good doctor of some kind, because I love taking care of people and helping people like that. And there's no telling, but it's sad that a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses are stuck in a low-paying, meager job that doesn't require any kind of skill set for the most part, and they're just stuck. They're just stuck. So I didn't know if y'all knew that or not, but yeah, they don't like you to go to college. There were a lot of pros growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, but I think looking back, even if my parents were not Jehovah's Witnesses, I think they would have instilled in us kids, don't do drugs, stay out of trouble kind of mentality that any parent would want for their child, But what really stuck with being a Jehovah's Witness is if you did wrong again, that fear came to play. That fear was so strong. If you did something wrong, you're going to pay the price, as you've already have seen in some of my stories. And even if you didn't do nothing wrong, you still pay a price, sadly. But I don't have any regrets being raised as a Jehovah's Witness looking back, but I no, I do have regrets. Yeah, no, I do have regrets. But it wasn't a horrible life. My parents were so good about making us kids feel special, especially when it came around the holidays and stuff. And since we didn't celebrate any holidays whatsoever, especially Christmas, my parents came up with doing a party around the same time as the holiday, and they called it an I love you party, and that they would have for us kids. And it was kind of like our Christmas. And they would go to the store, toy store, whatever, and come back and have everything wrapped for us and set out for us. It was fun times, that they would do that for us every year. And just in general, me and my siblings and I, we had a great life with my parents. My parents were fun people. We lived 4 hours away from Disney. We went to Disney all the time and had such great memories. Took great vacations as a family. Family life was good only because of my parents, not because of the religion, only because of my parents. I wanted to mention also that I wanted to mention another doctrine that you may have heard of, maybe not. So Jehovah's Witnesses believe that there are two groups of people who are going to be saved. Two groups. One that they call the 144,000, or the little flock, or I forgot what they call them, but I think they call them like the little flock or something like that, of people who are supposedly special, very, very, very special people, that are the only ones that are going to heaven to be with Jesus Christ. 144,000. They get that from the book of Revelation. I've since learned that that's not correct, obviously. I don't believe that only 144,000 people go to heaven with all the people that have passed away through all these hundreds of years. No, 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 no. But that's what they believe. These people, I actually knew a couple when I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I asked this one lady, and she was a beautiful woman, beautiful older woman, how she knew that she was chosen to be with Christ, as opposed to having being a part of the other group, which was called the great crowd of people, that no man would be able to number, from all tribes, nations, and tongues, blah, 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 as the scriptures say, that would be living in a paradise earth. So I asked her, I said, well, how do you know that you are going to be one of these 144,000? And she said that something in her heart and in her mind told her, changed her desire from living in a paradise earth to living with Christ in heaven. And that when she died, that's where she was going to go, because that's what her heart and mind told her. That's what was going to happen to her when she died. I did believe that at the time. I honestly did believe in that, in those scriptures that said only 144,000. And the rest of us who were baptized, only if you're baptized can you enter into, after the Great Tribulation and Armageddon, can you enter into paradise earth. So that's a crazy doctrine that they believe. I didn't know if you knew that. Also, when we go door to door, it is voluntary. We do not get paid. We have to use our own resources, our own cars, our own gas, all of that. So there is no payment whatsoever. It's very different maybe than some other religions. I'm not sure if they get paid to minister. Well, I don't know if the Mormons do. I'm not sure. But I can honestly say that my life improved drastically in regards to leaving when I left. Just my mind and my eyes were opened up to so many things that I had no clue about in regards to the Jehovah's Witness organization / cult. Something that you may or may not want to look into that I found so disturbing was the Australian Royal Commission, probably around 2010, maybe around there. In Australia, they decided to do an investigation into all religions who were covering up child sexual abuse in their congregations or in their churches. Jehovah's Witnesses was one of them. And Jehovah's Witnesses are worldwide, by the way. They're all over the world. They're in Australia. They're everywhere. So this big investigation was videoed, and you can actually watch the proceedings on YouTube if you type in Australian Royal Commission, and the governing body in Pennsylvania assigned 2 buffoons, 2 men, to be the spokes people for the case that was being brought against Jehovah's Witnesses for child sexual abuse. And they didn't have a leg to stand on. That commission, that they really dove into them, and I'll tell you why. The argument that Jehovah's Witnesses had in not reporting child sexual abuse is based on a scripture. I'm not sure where the scripture is found, but there is a scripture that they use that states that if there is no witness to a crime, just use the word crime in general, then it's pretty much hard to say whether it really not did happen. So when is there ever a witness to abuse, child sexual abuse? When a parent or somebody, maybe in the congregation, somebody you know is doing that to a child, there are no witnesses. So Jehovah's Witnesses said because there wasn't an eyewitness to the event, that they couldn't report it to the police. And they encouraged the abuse victim to not go to the police. No, don't go to the police. We'll take care of it. We'll take care of it for you during the little committee meetings that they have. We'll take care of it. We'll take care of that person. But we don't want to bring reproach upon Jehovah's Witness organization by any means. You know, we don't want to have our name tarnished in any way, shape, or form. So don't report it to the police. Fortunately, there were some smart people out there that did report it to the police. Maybe they told whoever, and that child had somebody help them report it to the police. And that's how it all came to light with this Australian Royal Commission with Jehovah's Witnesses and some other religions also as well. And so they lost all of them. They lost that case. Australia won, and from now on they will be held accountable. If something like this ever happens again, they have to report it to the police. They kind of made it like a new law, which is fantastic. But here in the States, it's been a different story, unfortunately. Gratefully, there have been many sexual abuse survivors who decided to go ahead and report it to the police. Now, they may be grown now, but still, statute of limitations holds no limits when it comes to something like that, from what I understand, in the United States. So they have sued and the Jehovah's Witness organization for covering up, in a sense, these crimes that were committed. And the Jehovah's Witnesses organization, they have lost millions and millions of dollars in settlements to these abuse survivors. And it's such an applaud to them. It's sad that it even had to go to that length, but the Jehovah's Witnesses would even go so far as to shred or hide evidence of any committee meetings that were done where it was reported to the elders. They destroyed evidence. They destroyed evidence. Isn't that disgusting? How could you do that? How can you not believe a small child when this is presented to you? Why would they make this up? Yeah, there may be some, but for the most part, no. And what did they do when they said they were going to take care of it? What did they do? Nothing. A lot of the times, the perpetrator was still allowed to be hanging around kids in the congregation, not disfellowshipped in any way. Come on. They should have been disfellowshipped. They should have been excommunicated as a protection, definitely as a protection to the congregation, because that person is a perp. What do we do in this country? You're labeled as a child molester, and your name is put on a list, and we know where you live, and you're supposed to stay so many, I don't know what the distance is, away from children and schools and stuff like that. But no, not Jehovah's Witnesses. Nope. And this is going on all around the world. So they're really being exposed. They have been exposed for this horribleness, and I'm so glad. They've had to sell a lot of their kingdom halls to help pay for these settlements, because they're losing money. They're losing big time money, in their organization. They're having to sell these properties so that they can pay these settlements. It's just disgusting. They also don't want us to be involved in politics. We were never allowed to vote, period, because they used the scriptures, the words from Jesus, where Jesus said that he was no part of this world. They wanted to make me a king, but I refused, and so he was separate from the world. So we did not get involved or vote ever. I voted, my first time I voted in 2016. That was the first time I ever registered to vote. Yeah, in my late 40s. I actually voted for for the first time. It was a great experience, I have to say. But they're also hypocritical because a couple that I follow on YouTube that I have mentioned that kind of will help me unprogram myself, they came up during this last presidential election. They found documents, and it was just mind-blowing, where the Jehovah's Witness organization donated a great amount of money to a Democratic like senator or candidate of some sort, and I forgot what state. But what hypocrites. You tell us we can't vote, but you're giving money secretly. They tried to keep it quiet, but we got the documents. They tried to keep it quiet. You're donating money to a political campaign, but you tell us we're not allowed to be involved in politics or vote? Such hypocrites. It's all hypocrisy. It's all hypocrisy. It's just so asinine. The things that they say we can't do, but yet they do. It just doesn't make any sense. But in 2012, I decided that, I wanted to date, and I signed up for Match.com. And I was on it for 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks' time, I met my husband, now Fred. And he was only on it for 1 week. And we both had our first chit-chat on the phone on April 1st, 2012. It's been almost 10 years now that we have been together. We'll be married for 6 years. This is coming up April 5th. And something interesting growing up as a Jehovah's Witness and as an adult as a Jehovah's Witness, they tell you, they scare you into thinking that if you ever leave the organization, that bad things will happen to you. One, you're going to lose God's favor. You're going to lose, your chances of salvation. The people outside, anybody outside that are not Jehovah's Witnesses are bad people. And just bad things are going to happen to you. Well, that was a big fat lie. Because the real truth is, I have never been happier ever in my whole life than I am right now. And that is being outside of that cult. So that was a huge lie that I was so glad to see come to light for me. It was, people are not bad. Just because they're not Jehovah's Witnesses did not make them bad. Bad things have not happened to me since I've left. My faith is stronger now. My spirituality is stronger now than ever in my whole life. Ever. I never thought that it would be this strong. And I used to study my Bible all the time as a Jehovah's Witness, and thought I just knew it all. I didn't know anything. I don't know. I still don't know what, a lot of things are still going to be a mystery when it comes to spirituality and God, and that's fine. I'm good with that. God will reveal things to me when they want to. My creator will take care of it when it's time. Um, what else was I going to say? Let me pause for a second because I'm having a little break. So I also wanted to say, sorry, I had a brain fart. I have come to the belief, this is my own personal belief, that perhaps one day maybe one day we won't have different religions. Because think about it, when you have different religions, it's a division. One religion believes this, one religion believes that. And I'm under the thinking, I can't help but think about that old John Lennon song, Imagine. And the words to that song can be very prophetic in a sense, where he talks about a world with no religion. And I feel like there is some truth to that. Years ago, I read a book called The Shack. And that book was beautiful, just a beautiful story about faith and spirituality and just, of course, it's a fictitious book, but I think there was a little truth to one part of it where the Jesus character in the book made mention to the fact that he didn't belong to any kind of church or religion. He was just a good human being that followed certain moral principles, certain principles in general. And he was not tied down to any kind of specific belief that we have become accustomed to in our lives today. And when you think about it, division in religions does not create any kind of unity. We all, if you do research and you look at all these other religions throughout the globe, throughout the earth, you'll see that there's a lot of similarities in stories about Jesus or Moses or Noah. A lot of very similar beliefs and stories in all these other religions. And so I really think that one day that negative division of being separated by different religions will be a thing of the past. I don't believe our Creator intended for us to have different beliefs like that because it creates disunity. There is no unity among the faiths and the friends, and so that's just my personal thought. I thought it was interesting to think that maybe one day we'll all just be under the same beautiful tent of our Creator and living in unity without division. That's just my hope. And I think that maybe one day that's something that God may want to instill. Because that book, The Shack, really touched on that. And I never thought of that before, that Jesus didn't really belong to a religion. He really didn't. I don't think he would attend one church over another. If he were here now, I don't believe he could pick one over the other as having the truth or the correct belief or whatever. Could you? No. I don't think anybody could answer that without saying, no, I don't think he could pick just one. He would probably maybe chastise us and say, y'all need to get up under the same roof. Perhaps, and get it together, and maybe he could fill us in on some of the things we're missing in our spiritual mystery, in the spiritual mystery of life, But that's just something that I thought about, that I wanted to share. But again, my life has never been better up until this point, and it continues to get better. I married the best man I could have ever found on this planet. And in my search for a husband, I wanted somebody that was like my daddy. And I found that in Fred. Fred is so much like my dad, treats me with so much respect and love, and we have a camaraderie with each other. We have a great time with each other. We're just meant to be together. And I think that all of that garbage and crap that I went through in my life blessed me, blessed me with this man that I am so grateful to have in my life. Along with my family and friends, I am so blessed and happy. I couldn't be any happier. So I want to thank you so much for listening to my story, and I hope you learned something from it. I hope it helped you in some way. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. Don't be afraid to ask me anything. I'll be happy to answer, and if there's any future subjects that you would like me to touch on in a video format, let me know. I'm ready. This was so much fun, very therapeutic, and I really loved having your support. All of your comments, the people who have commented, just beyond words. My heart filled up with so much emotion reading your sentiments, and I truly appreciate you joining me on this journey with me and telling my story. So until next time, we'll talk later. Bye.